if you guys had to think about like one thing that you could do that didn't need prior approval, didn't need help with a budget, that you could do to kind of help take back to your prospective groups, what would that thing be? Just think of that for a minute.
I think for me, it would be have a conversation. You can make all sorts of judgments and assumptions and think you know the situation. And instead of just making blanket decisions that all parents do this or all caregivers are doing that, have a conversation with the people really involved in that child's life and say, look, I'm Susie, caregiver, and I have a kid who is at super high risk of being in the hospital if they get this. And I'm scared. So Jason, Dad, that's just my reality. I'm scared. So what can we do to work together? Because I want you to see your kid. And so I think it's having honest conversations with the very people involved.
Yeah, I think that from my perspective, having the ability to talk with parents and explain that it's not accusatory, because that's how sometimes concerns come across, is that it's not a conversation, it's that you're telling me that I'm doing these things, right? And that's, I think, part of the trauma that they've experienced within the system, right? And so I think that asking them for patience and also a little understanding as we're kind of walking through these conversations with caregivers and social workers, to just breathe, take that little extra step of like, we're having a conversation, we're not making decisions. I think it's going to be what I can do to help move things back to a conversation level.
Yeah, I think that with that conversation, you know, you gain understanding of each other's perspectives and feelings, and then some flexibility goes a long way. You know, I remember having a conversation a long time ago about shared planning meetings and talking about how, you know, we may not all walk out of the room with exactly what we want, but if we can all walk out of the room with something we can live with, it's been a success. You know, if we've moved forward in a way that is okay, you know, it may not be great, it may not be perfect. It's, you know, it's not easy for things to be perfect in the work that we do, even under normal circumstances. But if we can do something good, you know, and have that flexibility from people to say, you know, I'd rather not have this child leave my home at all, you know, from the caregiver, but are you willing to have them go out for a visit once a week, you know? And to the parent, you may want to see your child 5 days a week, but are you willing to have a longer visit, but do it less frequently so that you can still see your child, but there's less transports back and forth from home to home? You know, right. If everybody can be a little bit flexible and a bit understanding, that goes so far. You know, I mean, as social workers, we are always living in this realm of knowing that we're not going to please everyone. You know, our ultimate duty is to ensure the child's safety, and we know we're not going to please everyone, but it makes us feel so much better when people can understand that it's not my goal to hurt anyone. You know, it's the opposite, right? I want to make this situation good and better. So having a little bit of understanding and grace for your social worker, recognizing that they're doing the best that they can in a really hard situation, it makes a really big difference.